are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee and hot.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with the Dog. You make me laugh.
I don't know what's going on with the radio. One of those days already. You know, I like Thursdays too. Don't be hitting the mic stand with your coffee. That's rule number one. It's Radio Alpha King rule number one. Oh, come on. I thought that was the end of it all. But it was not the end of it all. Good morning, folks. It is Thursday, March 7th. I had to think about that for a second. 2024. Crappy day here again. I think the sun's going to come out tomorrow, and then we're going to get another week of crap here in the Northeast. I should not complain about the weather. But what else, what else do I do? That's what I do. I complain about the weather. Anyway, it's shitty and dreary here. It feels like a day where you say, I don't want to go to school today. First of all, our second guest, Lana Sebo, who would have been very, very great. I'm telling you, she would have been fabulous today. She would have made you laugh so hard. She's not going to be here. She is in the process of rescheduling sometime in the future. So we have no guest in the second hour. In the first hour, Logan Peters is going to be here. Logan has been on the program before, but pressure's on him, man. He better bring it today because he's the only guest. He better be fucking funny, or else. That's all I can say. He better be funny from the minute I introduce him. Anyway, if you call yourself an alpha male, chances are that means you got beat up in school. That's what I'm saying. A lot. Like, you got beat up in school every day. Anybody who calls themselves alpha male, probably a pussy. Probably a weak little broken man, small penis, big truck maybe. Lots of guns in the house. That kind of guy. And if your friends and people who know you call you an alpha male, that means you probably tricked them into sucking your dick at some point. That's what I'm concluding here. This is mind dog science for you. I'm going to break it down for you a little bit. What the hell's the guy's name? Hold on a second. I'll see if I can get his name. Bamini? Something. Give me 1 second here. I'm on RFK, not on Matt Rife at the moment. Let me see the Rife stuff. I'll get the guy's name. This guy who calls himself the Alpha Male King. What's his name? 1 second here. I'm gonna get it. Alpha Male. Oh, God. Alpha Male King. What's his real name? I shouldn't even give him this extra shout out. Nima Yamini is his name. He calls himself the Alpha Male King. Now, he's got a hard on for Matt Rife. And if you remember just yesterday, I said I wasn't going to allow myself to get sucked into the stand-up comedy drama. And here I am. It's not really drama. It's comical. It's stand-up comedy. Nima Yamini, which is not really a manly name. If I'm being completely honest, if I saw somebody named Nima Yamini, I'd think, Anyway, he says now that he was in a room with two Hollywood executives offered him and another comic uh, fame, big time fame, in exchange for blowjobs. And he said before he could get out the door, the other comic was on his knees sucking both dicks at the same time. And that comic's name was Matt Rife. That's what he said. Now, that's libel if it didn't happen. Even if it did happen, it's libel. Matt Rife doesn't really reply. Obviously, I don't believe it happened. It's a good story. But 2 days ago, I posted something from a stand-up comedian on my Facebook page who said basically that, where is it? I can bring that up and read it so I can get it right and know exactly what he said. He said, some some of y'all can't even call it comedy career. You should call it being an escort, since all you do is suck a dick in exchange for stage time. Now, I don't think that was necessarily aimed at Matt Rife at that time, but uh, good coincidence. Anyway, turns out this Nima Yamini guy, Nima, I'm sorry, Nima. He has made accusations like this before. When Matt Rife first started to blow up, he was calling trans. He was basically suggesting that he used to be a woman uh, and had a dick added to him or something. So basically, what it comes down to is this guy's jealous of Matt Rife's success, and he's trying to, I don't know, get his 15 minutes of fame by tearing somebody else down, which never really works. And it's coming back on him. He's getting a lot of, backlash. People, basically one guy said it, 43-year-old Nima Yamini was in the same room with Matt Rife. Rife would have been 15 at the time, and he watched it. He should go to jail, which is pretty true. But can you listen? I don't believe this happened. But the casting couch and blowjobs for fame, blowjobs in exchange for fame, is a thing. It's always been a thing. Um, it's not even fame sometimes. It is for stage time, as the guy the other day kind of suggested. It's basically if you can get away with it, you can get away with it. And people do get away with it. Sorry, that's a fact. On that note, RFK Jr. was asked about being on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, and he said, "So I run it. So I run into everybody in New York. I mean, I know Harvey Weinstein. I know Roger Ailes. O.J. Simpson came to my house. Bill Cosby came to my home. Not exactly the kind of shit you want to be saying when you're running for president. Yeah, every pervert and bad guy and abuser uh, on record, I'm buddies with them. I love them. They're my people." Anyway, so it's one of those days. Willie looks like he's missing in action there. I see a big bear. And we have Ron Kane sitting in for G.D. Fenderson. A welcome a welcome exchange. We made a good trade. We're not like the Mets. We're like the Yankees today. We traded up. We traded up for the fabulous Ron Kane from all we said was like a minor league prospect to the Baltimore Orioles, and we got back Ron Kane. How are you guys?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, well,
Great,
yeah. What do you got? Something to say about Matt Rife, Willie? Matt Rife and blowjobs for fame.
I mean, listen, whose dick do I got to suck? Get me in line, for fuck's sakes.
Well, I had the opposite with that reaction to the person who said all you're doing is sucking dick for stage time. It's like I got a stage. How big a stage does it have to be?
Right.
I mean, I will put
That's
a stage
why I got
out
into
my
comedy
front.
for the blowjobs, giving and receiving.
Ron Kane, have you ever given a blowjob for stage time?
No, but like when you deal with some bookers and people that run the shows, it almost feels like that you are sometimes.
Of course, yeah, I've been there, man. Listen, I've been very jealous of somebody's success before, but I've never come out and libeled them in public like that. Now, Matt Rife isn't suing this guy. This is what's troubling me. Like, if somebody came, what?
Well, I think I kind of feel like he probably feels like to give it any attention at all, it's just not worth the time to to justify with or dignify with a response. Like
I
fucking
could
this
see that.
guy's
I could definitely see that. That's a good point. But also, if you don't shut it down, you're just gonna welcome more of it. Basically, because that's a crime. Libel is a crime. It's a
right,
civil crime, but.
right.
And he gets a lot of abuse, but not that. Not people coming out and saying he used to be trans or. And listen, it's kind of weird that we have to talk about it, and that if somebody says you're gay, that is libel. Because we want to say there's nothing wrong with that, but to suggest that he got on his knees and sucked two dicks at once for his fame is libel. Not that
Yeah,
he's gay. There's nothing wrong with being gay.
no, there's not. But the whole ridiculousness of saying, "Hey, I just happened to walk in the room, and guess what? Matt Rife is blowing dudes."
Oh no, he said he was in the room, like basically, and these two guys offered it to him, and he was running out the door. But before he could get to the door, Matt Rife was on his knees sucking dick.
Yeah,
Like, why were you hanging out with Matt Rife anyway? You're 43 years old. He was 15. It just doesn't make any sense.
to me, it
Plus,
sounds like maybe that was his fantasy, and it's coming to
that's
come to life.
yeah. And the guy calls himself Alpha King, and he's got Alpha King rules number, and he's one of these guys. He's got like 12,000 followers on Twitter, which is not huge, and I never heard of him before. But I'm definitely of this idea that anybody who calls himself Alpha is definitely overcompensating, and if somebody else is referring to you as Alpha, you did something to them. Like, think you.
I mean, so in your mind, there are no alphas out there. Is that
No,
what you're saying?
I think John Pavaramo covered that yesterday. Alpha is a made up thing. Even in nature, like we started calling alpha dogs, alpha wolves, alpha silverbacks, and all that kind of stuff, But it's a made up thing. There is no in the human race. There is no alpha male. There is, it basically that's a psychological thing of the late 20th century and early 21st century. It's not a real thing. There are leaders and there are people but who contribute to leading, but there is no like head of the pack, leader of the pack type of
Well,
thing.
my wife would disagree with you on that because she reads these paranormal romance novels, and that's
Right,
all those books are about. They're
right.
fucking very erotic, and like the guys are always dominating the women, and they're alpha males.
Right, dominating a woman, but the concept behind the alpha male is they dominate men. Like it's the most and other men
Right,
bow
right,
down to the. That's just
right.
not true. That's just not true. I mean, because we see it all the time where guys will lock horns. Locking horns is a subject that nobody's really dominant. And we're competitive. And there's that, and like you could say that there's a guy like Tom Brady who wins 99% of the time,
Right.
but that doesn't mean
Well,
he's the alpha quarterback. There's guys who are saying "fuck you, Tom Brady, I'll kick your ass," even if they don't.
well, as GD would say, there's a lot of asterisks when it comes to Tom Brady too. They got Spygate and Deflategate and all that kind of stuff. Would he have been so good if they were playing on the up and up all the time? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's another question. But I think it's and even in the case of Tom Brady, I would say that really truly successful men and women, successful people know how to put the right people around them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Successful people know where their weak points are, and they get someone else around them that can help them with that weak point to help them reach a higher point of success. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
To me, a successful person isn't necessarily an alpha, but somebody who really knows the benefit of working well with others, especially in the areas where you are weak,
No,
where you have weak points.
valid
You know
point.
that,
Yeah, no.
yeah.
It was Tom Brady didn't win any Super Bowls. The Patriots won Super Bowls. Tom Brady didn't win Super Bowls. Because if we come down to that, then Eli Manning is the greatest alpha male of all time because he beat Tom Brady 3 times, 3 important times. So
I think the nation needs to have a conversation about like I think we have to decide like stop putting Eli Manning on TV. He's not funny, and he's like what he's like one step away from everyone like he's
But
a little
he's the little brother
I did not
everybody
even
wants to
know.
like.
I'll be honest with you. I did not even know he was on TV. I didn't. I'm surprised that he is because I agree with you. He's not like a TV personality. But not having a TV, I wouldn't even know that he's he's been on TV. That's a shocker to me. That's surprising. I have to say. But this idea of trying to get your 15 minutes of fame by taking shots at a famous person that you're jealous of. It just makes you seem petty. It doesn't
Oh, sure.
but this guy is getting famous. I mentioned his name twice here this morning, and he's all over Twitter now. He is kind of becoming known, but he's becoming known in a bad way as that dick
Right.
who's spreading rumors and
And
unsubstantiated.
that's one of those things, they say no publicity is bad publicity, but in like a case like this, you got to wonder about that because, okay, like you say, he is starting to become known, but isn't he kind of becoming known as a buffoon?
Yeah.
And how much is that really going to help him?
Yeah, and not becoming known as the Alpha King, even though that's what he calls himself. He's that. I call him the Beta Jester. Now,
Right.
Beta Jester.
Well, I think it's been pretty agreed upon that calling yourself an alpha male is a pretty beta move.
Yeah.
You can't call yourself that. I will say that if others find the need to call you that, I feel like there's probably some credence to it. A little bit. You know what I mean?
I think it's because they are subservient. They want those people. I think it says a lot more about the people calling you that who are just like looking for a daddy.
Take care of me.
There is that whole online culture of like being an alpha and like all women should submit to men and
I want to get David Spade on the program. David Spade, look at him. Does he look like is he your alpha male? Think about it. Picture David Spade in your mind. Is that your alpha male?
No, but he's got a shit ton of money, so he can do whatever.
Yeah. But he's a successful person, but I wouldn't call him an alpha male. No.
Me neither. But even before he had money, according to all the reports of people who know him, his friends, he was the biggest pussy magnet and the guy who could walk into a club, size it up and say, my opportunities are not great here. Let me go to the next place. Like, he walk into a club, be there for a minute, size it up. This isn't a great place. Let's go someplace else. Go to that room and then pick up the hottest chick within 2 minutes and leave with her.
Right.
So I've had guys on who write these books about how to pick up women and how to seduce women and all the time. He's the guy I want to talk to because he's not all that handsome. He's not good looking. And he doesn't look like an athlete or anything, but he knows how to work the female mind and walk into a place first and size up and see who's looking, who's needing, and where to go and get them, and just like not waste any time. Efficiency in pussy getting.
Because he's funny. That's why he's
well,
funny.
Okay. So I watched the video yesterday. I want to have Shaq on. I want to really try and get Shaq on the show too. But mainly
so we can look at his penis like Richard Lewis and say, what is that?
Mainly because he believes that Stevie Wonder isn't really blind. But he also I watched a video with him yesterday talking about Dennis Rodman and how he fucking hated Dennis Rodman because Dennis would come to practice late as shit and then go through practice, wouldn't fucking shower or anything, and he would already stink. He would already stink when he came to practice, right? Then he'd go through an NBA fucking practice session, wouldn't fucking shower, he'd get dressed to go to the club, and he'd go out to the club, and he'd be surrounded by 5 or 6 of the baddest fucking bitches there. And
Yeah.
Shaq was just like, how? Fucking how? You know what I mean? Like this fucking dude.
Women like stink.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what? Oh, let me just say, Stevie Wonder isn't blind. He's almost blind. He's legally blind, but he's not blind. He's not blind. He wasn't
I'm
born
sure you can
blind.
see like shapes and shit like that, you know,
Right.
shadowy shapes, whatever. Yeah.
He wasn't born blind. He had some disease that kind of impaired his vision to the point of legally blind.
Yeah.
But so Shaq's right about that. I didn't know that was a big controversy or something. He's come out and said it, or you know, and kind of accused him of faking blindness. Put him behind the
Yeah,
wheel.
well, I mean, I don't know if he says he fakes blind. I don't know. I don't know how he puts it. I know he was on. I think it was on Jimmy Kimmel. He talked about it on Kimmel a little bit, and Kimmel just kind of laughed at him that he would think that Stevie's not blind. But they used to live in the same building apparently, or whatever, and that's why it was coming up or whatever.
Wow.
But yeah, they had some interactions that made Shaq feel like, okay, I don't think this dude's actually blind. Like,
All right, I have some news that may affect you. It's kind of weird. Now, our Governor Hochul, I don't even know how to pronounce her name. She's sending National Guard to the subways in New York City, and she wants to ban anybody who has a record of violent crime from riding the subways in New York. Just in time for you to come to New York City.
what the fuck kind of shit is that?
I guess there's some more wild shit going on in the subways, like violent crime and stuff, and bombs and fire bombs and stuff going on. So she's sending the National Guard down there, but she just introduced a bill to. Now, how can you enforce this? This is what
I mean, yeah, but my first question is, how are they even going to regulate that? You're going to stop everyone coming in to see if they have a record or not?
Yeah, let me fingerprint you before you go down the subway.
It's never going to work.
I know.
It's not even reasonable to suggest.
It's not well thought through.
No.
Definitely, but I could just see it just being a problem for it's slowing you down while you're in New York, trying to get from one comedy club to another, and you have to wait on long lines now because there's National Guard, whatever, frisking people or just looking people over, giving them a hard time.
Papers, show me your papers.
Show me your it is Nazis, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, what the fuck are you talking about right now? No, that's not
Ron, have you ever been to New York? Have you done the New York thing?
Yeah, I've been up to New York, and yeah, I was reading about that this morning about what the governor did, and I know as of late there's been a lot of like reels that I've been seeing from the subway, like people doing crazy shit. You know how they jump off the platform and start like running on the tracks and like pushing people off. So I get it from that standpoint, but yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, how are you going to check all those people coming in every day?
Yeah. And you're also assuming that everyone that's doing those things already has a record when it could, like, one thing about gang activity is that when you're first trying to make it in the gang, you usually don't have your record yet or whatever. You know what I mean? And that's when they ask you to do the dumbest, most random shit to prove that you're part of the fold and that you can follow orders, as they ask you to do dumb, ridiculous fucking shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah, no.
The people perpetrating this shit don't necessarily have records, so it's just fucking dumb. You know what I mean? And not to mention, like, how far back are we going? You know what I mean? Because I mean, if we're talking conviction, I mean, fuck, my conviction's all the way back in 2007 for that crime. So I mean, how far back are they reaching? Also,
I don't think it's possible in any way to really to stop everybody and say, do you have a criminal record?
I think they're more worried about the crazies. It seems like that, because they said there's going to be like a mental health people along with like all these National Guardsmen and like the police. But I mean, the subway's always been crazy. I mean, you get on the subway, and then someone like once the doors close, someone starts fucking performing and starts doing shit. It's like This is fucking crazy. Because
I think we talked about this. Somebody was on the program who'd been. It was Anthony Casasi, and we talked about. You know what? I don't ride the subway. Anybody who really is from here knows better than to even get in the subway. We walk in New York. If you're a local, you're gonna walk. Uh, I'm just contacting Logan because he's already 10 minutes late.
gotcha.
This could be a long show with no guests, but that's the way it.
Oh, so I do have something that I wanted to bring up. So the local fire station here in Grants, they have like one of those digital roller boards or whatever with messages and all that kind of stuff. And they always have like what kind of day it is. What, like, today is National Flapjack Day. Did you know that?
Flapjack
Yeah,
is
like
the same as a pancake.
Yeah, like pancakes. So today they really will sell like hotcakes probably. And then it's also National Slam the Scam Day, which is, did you know that this was Consumer Protection Week? I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that, but that's a good. I'm down with that 100%. This
I
whole
figured
idea.
you would. I figured you like that one a lot. National
Fucking
Slam the
scammers.
Scam Day.
It's like every day I get probably 500. No exaggeration, because I get like almost 3,000 emails a day now, marketing type stuff. But the scammers are coming out of the woodwork now. I mean, every possible angle you can come at. It used to be you just get the Nigerian guy who says you just inherited $50,000 or $5 million or whatever. I want to deposit in your bank account, that kind of stuff. Now they're coming up with crazy angles. Big time. I get probably 10 a day to Mind Dog TV's Facebook page of people saying they are Meta, where they're clearly not Meta, and they're saying my face has been my page.
That's how I got hacked. That's how I got hacked by one of those Meta ones.
Right.
That's why I had to restart my Facebook. And my old Facebook, I don't know if you remember me sharing this, but one day I was like looking at my my professional mode bar or whatever, and I was checking out my demographic, and I had like 2% of my audience, like 8 different followers, were from Nigeria. I was like, what the fuck? Why are people in Nigeria following me? That seems weird.
Well, they're big on comedy over in Nigeria. They definitely.
Maybe that Nigerian prince was for real. I don't know.
We'll check out this white guy. Why not change it up?
I'll tell you this: when Matt first got a hold of me, I had no idea how he found me, but he came across me online.
How did I find you? I don't know.
I think you found my YouTube. I think you saw my Snow Jam performance on YouTube.
It might have been Kiera, to be honest with you. Oh, by the way.
Oh, maybe.
Did I don't know if I said this, but Kiera's father has been found.
He has been found. Oh, no, you didn't tell us that. Where did they find him?
I don't know where they found him, but he was not in good condition when they found him. He's in the hospital, and we don't know the full story. But this, to me, Ron, so I'll give you a little backstory here. Kiera used to be the co-host, or she used to have a segment on the show. She left about a year ago, but her father went missing on February 26th. Her father is a friend who comes to see my band all the time. Went missing in Florida. According to the reports, he was last seen crossing the street. His girlfriend, who was a living girlfriend, that day, right after reporting to the police that he was missing, flew back to New York. And everybody thought, well, that's kind of suspicious. She must have killed him and just left. Now, like 10 days after he went missing, he was found. He's in the hospital, delirious, and not able to even tell his story about what happened to him. I think that makes the girlfriend look more suspicious because well, I mean,
maybe
if
she's not good at killing people.
Yeah, she's just not good at killing them. Exactly, that's what I think. Yeah, you know what? She flew. If your living significant other just goes missing, you don't go back to New York. You don't fly 1,000 miles away immediately after reporting them missing.
I'm gonna say this. Don't let that bitch anywhere near the hospital he's in. We're gonna try and finish that shit.
Well, like last week, my wife, she's like, why don't you just like crack my neck? Just take it and crack my neck. And I'm like, there's no way I'm doing that because I'm gonna wind up killing you, and no one's gonna believe me
Yeah,
that. Oh,
yeah,
hey, I was just trying to crack her neck.
I crack my
yeah.
wife's neck all the time.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm not going.
I don't even crack my own neck, yo. Like for real, I don't. Like it'll crack on its own if it needs to crack. I don't play with my neck like that. Nuh-uh.
Yeah, well, I never really thought about that. I could accidentally kill her, and then what happens? Then I spend the rest of my life in jail. Well,
Yeah,
that's
true.
not
Yeah,
much of the
yeah.
rest of my life anyway. You know what?
Fucking
Not a
disgusting.
whole lot of time. We'll give you 50 years. I ain't serving that. You'll get 5 out of me, tops.
Hey,
You'll
if
get
it
five
works
out of
out though, if it works out, you can get some crazy hotter young girlfriend though.
Aha. That's yeah, and you know what? I don't know if you guys ever saw the movie How to Commit Murder and Get Away. I think How to Commit Murder, Jack Lemmon, and he basically he represents himself, and he doesn't say he's not guilty. He gets the jury to say who doesn't want to kill their wife, and the jury basically says not guilty because they all want to kill their spouse.
Oh, that's just funny. That's fucking great. Fucking
uh, you,
Jack Lemmon is great. That's something I'm gonna try and look up maybe because I do love Jack Lemmon. He was really
yeah,
good.
yeah. Um, Ron, you still in Florida?
I am not. Nope, I am back home. We got home when the fuck? Last Friday. So I've been home almost a week now.
And was the
So did
trip?
you still have a show on Tuesday?
Yeah, I was actually in Arlington, Virginia last night. I had a show. I drove down for that. That was like a little over 2 hours to get to.
I thought Arlington was nothing but gravestones from one end to the other.
No, no, no. It's just kind of lily white and very corporate.
Wow. Yeah, no, I could see that. I could definitely see that. I think it's General Lee's backyard. I think that's the Arlington National Cemetery was his backyard, or his
Yeah, it
front
could
I
yard.
did not know that.
Yeah, it was kind of a revenge for Lee being a traitor. It's like
Right,
let's bury them all right in his front yard.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
I get
Well,
that.
yesterday John Pavaramo said something that I find inspiring. Yeah, because he was talking about governors. Hello, guys. We're on the Governors Network, by the way, and I'm going to say something negative about governors.
Oh,
John,
no.
I'm just quoting John. He said he doesn't do governors anymore because they don't pay enough. They don't pay him enough. And I thought, well, that's interesting. He has standards. I never heard of a comedian who has standards before. It says, I'm not playing this place because they don't pay me enough, which I like. But I think more people should have that. If everybody adopted that attitude, I think comedy in general and the business of comedy for comedians would be a better place. Anybody got any feedback on that or different opinions or?
I mean, I do think that like if stand-up comedians uh like banded together a little bit more to insist that we get, a bigger chunk,
Yeah, but this is
but
not
I
banded
think what
together.
happens though, I think that what I see, at least from my perspective, is the headliners get paid and they don't trickle down that pay
Right,
properly
absolutely.
most of the time. And,
Absolutely.
and like, to me, I don't really see it as a venue issue. If you're a fucking headliner and you were happy with, and even if you weren't, it's kind of like a server, at a restaurant or whatever, they still serve their purpose for the show, whether you necessarily like them or not or whatever. I mean, if they did a terrible job, I could see dinging them a little bit or whatever, but they still need to people need to get paid for their fucking work.
Right.
You know what I
Now,
mean?
I'm just going to say that there are a couple of headliners that I know about who do treat their features very well.
Yeah,
Uh,
some of them do.
but I just want to say that you're taking the idea that if they band it together, John is a very lone wolf, and I've known him for a couple of years now, and he's not saying everybody I'm taking a stand with everybody. He's saying I'm taking the stand on myself. They don't pay me enough.
Right.
Which you know what? That's a good, understanding that I'm not desperate. I'm not that desperate that I'm going to allow myself to be abused. Now he's obviously getting paid. He's headlining all over the East Coast, up and down the East Coast. But if club that happens to be we're on their network right now is not paying enough for him, he's going to say no to it. And I think, if more people adopted that attitude just for themselves, never mind banding together, I think club owners would have to start saying, yeah, we need to respect quality over just saying, yeah, just fill my stage with whoever will play
Right.
here for nothing. It's
Yeah.
a hard thing to do.
I mean, to me, a lot of times it just feels like people aren't thinking about the audience. Like if you're gonna build an audience, you have to have decent comedians, because if you're putting on a show and you put up the cheaper comedian who maybe isn't as funny or whatever, like people aren't going to come back. You know what I mean? So like you do want to have quality acts. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
I don't know if I don't know if I completely agree with that, because especially the way some of these indie clubs are run, they're so, they want the person that's got all the Instagram followers because they feel like that
right.
translates to something, and there's
But
something.
it doesn't a lot of times. And
Yeah,
if people keep and like this fad this happened, because you're right, the bookers are definitely looking for people who have like Instagram numbers and TikTok numbers and stuff like that. But what's happening is those people don't have like real sets, especially headlining sets or whatever. So they come and people come to the show, but it's a piss poor fucking show. And how many of those people are going to come back to another show, even if they really like somebody on Instagram? Well, I like that other guy on Instagram or that other girl on Instagram, and then I went and saw them and they were garbage. I'm not going to do that again. You know what I mean? Like people aren't going to continue that. Like that's going to fall apart quickly.
I'm going to start calling him Devil.
That doesn't equate that they have the good.
Devil, Ian, not evil, Ian. Devil, Ian. Say it's the year of the influencer. Actually, I think it's like the decade, or it's probably the century of the influencer, right?
Oh, don't say the century, please, not the century. I can deal with a decade of this. Like if we roll into 2030 and it's over, I'll be all right. I'll be okay. All right. we weathered that bullshit.
I don't think that's the case. I mean, because I see more and more of this. These girls on TikTok who just all they do is stare at their phone. They take a picture of them staring at their phone all day long and like putting on a fake smile, and like they're getting 1 million views. Like what? So we keep rewarding that kind of stuff. And
have you seen these? Have you seen these videos where there's a certain name for it, but I can't remember what it's called? Where like if they have to do something for every time there's a like, or every time there's somebody gives stars or something, they have to do something or say something, and like they're literally like just doing this. Like I'm a peach. I'm a peach. Look at me. Look at me. I'm a peach. Look at me. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is that shit?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I can sit here while you two sit here and disparage thirst traps. What are you two doing? They're vital to the economy.
They're vital to the economy. Back when the stimulus package came out, I spent my entire stimulus on OnlyFans because I figured I wanted to stimulate those that were stimulating me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, it's just a very strange thing. Now, on the comedy front, I'm going to get in some trouble for saying this. I have a friend who at probably 55, 56 decided he wanted to become a stand-up comedian. He had probably 5,000 friends. He's a very popular guy. And he had 5,000 friends on Facebook, and he knows how to make connections with people. So he put together a 10-minute set at a local club and put himself in as the headliner, even though he's got 10 minutes, and put 6 or 7 established comedians, local comedians that he had contacts with on the show. And they were like openers and features and all that kind of stuff. And he packed the house. The place was filled. I mean, standing room only, packed shoulder to shoulder for his 10-minute set, which, if I'm being honest, was okay, but not it wasn't. It was his first time doing it, and it is what you would expect from a first timer. All his friends, of course, said it was great, great, and now all of a sudden, because these comics, for the money, they're going to play that and then give him this headlining thing. They swallow their pride and let this first timer be a headliner. And all his friends were saying how great he was. So, and they packed the place, and he got the lion's share of the money from the show. And then he had another show, and it was about half as many people. He was still got the lion's share. By the third show, it was probably down to about 35 people came to see him instead of 600 people. And the guys who were opening for him were saying that we've had enough of this. And then he realized, maybe this isn't for me. And that's where he gave up. So his comedy career was basically 3 shows, all headlining. And a gradual descent into a landing pattern. He never went back to starting at the beginning, open mic stuff. And to this day, I have to hear people saying how great he was. I mean, well, he killed that night. And like, no, he didn't kill. He killed because the room had 500 of his friends and family, and they laughed at the silliest, dumbest jokes that you could come up with. But it seemed like he killed appearances. But
well, and that's another thing of I've said a long time, and you brought it up many times. Making your friends and family laugh or whatever is one thing, but like you got to make a room full of people you don't know laugh, and people that don't know you. You know what I mean? Like sometimes, especially even in these open mics, if you get, say you're lucky enough to get 20 of your friends to show up, it's going to feel like a great show because like a third of the audience might know you and know how this is relatable to you in some way that a stranger's not going to know. Yeah. And being able to convey those things, that's what the real art of stand-up is can you make a stranger laugh at, you know what I mean? Like, because when they know you and they know your background, the situation could be funny because of aspects of your personality or whatever, but a fucking random person that doesn't know you isn't going to know that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so like, it's not a real fucking barometer. And part of the reason that I don't like open mics where it's just comics is like, how the fuck are you ever going to know what the fuck your material is actually doing? Because there's so many different, I know when I go to an open mic that's just comedians, I know that there's comedians that will laugh at every punchline because they want to be supportive of another comic. So, okay, now I can't really navigate whether or not that person's laugh matters at all. There's people that may not necessarily like me. So even if they think my joke is funny, they're not going to laugh out loud because they fucking hate me and they got this jealous thing going on. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, so, and comedians are known to have a more messed up sense of humor. So if I'm making the group of comedians laugh, that might work real well for them, but a regular crowd of an audience may not want to go that dark. Comedians notoriously have a darker sense of humor that the average stand-up audience may not necessarily laugh at. So like, how well can you, the only thing you can really gauge is your meter or whether or not you're putting it out the same. If you're recording your stuff, you can at least use it against other recordings, to see that kind of thing. But as far as like actually gauging your material, how are you doing that without a real audience? Without a real audience, how do you get a real barometer on what your material is putting out?
You can't, but also because I was thinking, I don't know, I had this in my head that if we went to CGD, I think I would laugh more at him some of the jokes he makes bombing, and so
yeah, the worst thing at a mic, the kind of like what Willie said is it's just that fake laugh.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
when you hear someone like, ha ha.
Is that worse than a real laugh at how bad the joke was? Because again, I'm thinking about if I went to CGD with the jokes he makes here on this show. Sometimes, I mean, they are like lead balloons. you could just feel you can feel the chat room going, oh God, man, really?
Well, like for me, like if I'm at a mic and it's mainly all comics, like if the comics aren't laughing at certain things, that means it's good material. That's the way
yeah.
that I know
Right.
that
I've learned
because
that's a
everyone will
trick
get
you got to learn.
everyone will they'll get silent on you because
Yeah.
they're
Because they're
probably
mad they didn't write that shit.
exactly
And they're kind of studying. They're being a little wow. Why
Yeah.
didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah, that was a
Yeah.
good turn. Yeah, like fucking, they're
The-
analyzing the shit.
The other part of that story, Matt, though, what about that guy having the 3 shows? They need to talk to all the friends that came out and see how many of his friends hate him now because he forced them to go to that show.
Yeah.
And
No,
he's never stopped talking about it since then either.
well, yeah, he still is a very popular guy, but he's an enigma to me because he's a natural born salesman, and a guy who definitely can make everybody feel like they're his best friend. So that helps. I mean, having that completely extroverted personality. But so people don't hate him for making. If they wouldn't go to another show if he basically said, "I'm doing it again. I'm starting up again, and I need people to come out for that comedy show." He hasn't practiced. Yeah,
I love seeing that though at a mic too, like a kind of a popular mic, which just about anyone will come out to, and like the people that start comedy, and that first time they show up for the open mic, they got like 25 people with them. Then like by the second time they come, it's maybe 10. Then by that third time, it's like 1 if they're lucky.
And then every time after that, it's just 5 people that keep telling them, I think I'm going to be there. I'm pretty sure I'll make it.
Right. But now, in music, because when we were first starting out, when we were kids, because we were still in high school and stuff, and people would come out to see the band, because drinking ages were different, and you could get in with fake ID, so filled up all high school kids. But even into our early 20s, you still have a large circle of friends who will come to see you. And so clubs didn't really care about quality at all. You could totally suck, but if you can bring all your friends in a room and fill the place up, and they would hire you anyway. So a lot of bands were like popular and getting write-ups and all this stuff, but they were terrible at performing. Nobody cared. It didn't matter. Yeah. And there was a lot of jealousy from older bands who like, hey, we're in our 30s now, and we're not bringing, like, we don't have a large group of friends to bring, so we don't get the gig, but we're really good and polished. Meanwhile, you got these kids up here who just are making noise and selling out. So, but what the point I was making is I see a lot more jealousy and just backstabbing in comedy than I ever saw in music. You would never see, well, you rarely see somebody who's coming up in music, stabbing the Foo Fighters in the back and just saying, "Oh, they were all." I caught the Foo Fighters on their knees, all sucking dick to get where they are. You would never see that.
Right.
But you see it in comedy all the time. Now I do. I mean, rumors and just backstabbing each other and just trying to tear each other down. It's weird how comics can be like predators.
It's all that low self-esteem, and just someone's getting something a little more than me. And I mean, you see it on all scenes. I mean, we have it in our scene. Like, we have a club in our area, and they essentially like gatekeep because they have like a couple comics that are supposed to book the host and things like that, and it's just ridiculous because if someone doesn't like you, they won't put you up. It's like, well, who gives a shit? If you can do the job, it doesn't matter. It's be professional. But you don't see that typically in entertainment anyway, or any type of performance.
And a couple of other things I noticed about some comedians who I follow. If you don't get every fucking joke, they will get angry at you. Like they get angry at the audience for not. Listen, I know even some of my favorite bands have had some songs that sucked, and they know that those songs bombed, but they don't get angry at their fans and say, you don't love everything I do. Sometimes everybody is gonna throw a stinker out there, and you have to be forgiving of your fans for not loving everything you do. It's just this narcissism, I guess, or maybe the opposite of narcissism, the insecurity of the second somebody doesn't love something I do, I'm a failure, or whatever it is. It's
Right.
defensiveness.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, you know what? The more I observe a stand-up comedy from afar, the more I just think, wow, it's a really a bag full of mental cases.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
especially
Oh God. Yeah.
especially at Mike's, if you have a comic that's like doing, like well, like they're on a lot of shows or like they're going out and doing things, then people get jealous about that too, and they'll start treating you different, and it's like we're all here for the same thing. We want to get better. I don't understand why you're upset that someone is working to get better.
Yeah. I totally don't get it. Now, yesterday, talking to Pavaramo about my obsession with some of the stuff that, again, I made a pledge that not to get sucked into this stuff, but to me, it's interesting. It's like on a high school type of level, like the rumors and stuff. But that stuff last week with the guys in the club owners, John was making a defense of, because John is a very liberal left wing guy, and he was defending conservatives because they were the common enemy was the club owners. And I was like, sometimes the business, you have to understand the business of it, because if you were a club owner or a
Yeah.
club manager or even a host, and sometime you have to take the business perspective of it into account. And I don't, it's for some people it becomes impossible. It's an us against them type of thing. Club owners versus the talent is always
But
a
and like some clubs, I think they just do enough to get by for a few weeks, and like if they can at least pull someone in that can draw maybe like once a month or once every other month, that's enough, and they don't really do anything else to build the audience. It's like
yeah.
we have these small crowds for weeks and weeks, and maybe we'll bring in one person, and that person does draw, but it's almost like it's a hack type of comic, but people come out for it, and then the cycle repeats.
One of my biggest pet peeves is because I see it far more in comedy than in any other like art form at all, is that club owners expect. Well, I shouldn't say that, authors have to do it too. Publishers and treat authors this way, is they expect the comedians to do all the promotion, all the marketing for this stuff, and they don't do anything to fill their own club. It's especially for people who are really talented but not good marketing people, like Billy Wayne Davis. It ends up being a struggle, because you have this great guys touring around everywhere in the world, and he shows up and the room is not full, or close to full, and it's the club owners take no responsibility for that. It's like they do nothing. They don't lift a finger to help. And
Oh no, and like sometimes like the hurdles are set like way too high to go into like some clubs on an off night, like a Tuesday night, to perform for someone's headline. It's like, hey,
Right.
let this person do it. They're working, they're trying to get better. They want them to sell 200 tickets on a
right,
Tuesday. It's like
right.
that
Yeah.
should you're right. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be up to just a comic. That's the club. Why is the comic responsible? I
Right.
mean, yeah, they should promote it like, "Hey, I'm going to be at this club," but the
Yeah.
club should want
Right.
to be on it too. It doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
That's
Yeah.
one
It's
thing that
it's your audience. It's your people. Yeah.
yeah, that's one thing that I think I really respect about Abby Russell over at Sticks and Stones Hamptons Comedy Festival, is every show that she has that she wants to promote, she'll reach out to all the local media outlets and say, "Can you have these people on? We're looking to promote the show." I mean, that's what a club owner should do. I mean, that most of them don't even think like that. Like, it's not I hired them. They're coming here. They're getting paid. That's the end of it for me. Wash my hands. And
Yeah, and
the,
that's where the whole laziness of like how many Instagram followers they have, or TikTok followers.
Yeah,
The club owners think, well, if they got 100,000 people, they'll easily fill this place. Well, not really. That's because how much of that 100,000 is actually people engaging all the time with that content,
or even in your area, they could be like all across the country or something. Like,
yeah,
they're not
or in
even
Africa.
local.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Andy Andrus has
I
a
mean,
post.
I know I got some people in Europe. I
thought you had
got
people in
Europe.
Nigeria
Even
too.
the show did, like, right,
those
yeah.
people in Nigeria are
I know
bots.
we just talked about it, but I mean, they're probably scammers waiting for me to make it so they can steal my money as soon as I make it.
It happened. Andy's got a post on Twitter about a fake cop. A fake cop in Bisbee, and he's saying it's me because the picture looks like me a little bit. It's got a big old hairy mustache. That's really all, and glasses, round glasses. But so now I'm trending on Twitter all of a sudden. People thinking I'm a fake.
I found out you got to be careful who you tell Matt he looks like. He gets upset.
No, I
He
don't.
gets upset if he doesn't think he looks like that person. You'll get mad. Yeah,
what,
you did. I did it. I showed you a picture one time, and you were like, "I look nothing like that guy," and I was like, "You look exactly."
Oh well,
like
that didn't look anything like me. If it really looks like me, I will definitely cop to it. Like Robert Klein said, I look like Himmler.
You can't get put that guy's hat on you to look just like him.
I don't think so.
Who said Hitler?
I think you look more like my Aunt Molly. My Aunt Molly was very She was very manly looking. My Aunt Molly. She was. She was my father's older sister, and she was tough, and she talked like a guy. You know what I mean? Like a guy from Brooklyn. Hey, yeah. And she was scary to me. I was always frightened of her. But that picture looked more like her, like that.
It
very
used to be Uncle Marv, but nobody talked about it back then.
Yeah. But no, I don't get upset about people saying I look like somebody if I think I really look like somebody. Like, because there have been lots of things where, like the Himmler thing, that's pretty much insulting to say I look like Himmler. But I know, okay, that's funny. If you think I look like, yeah, well, I've heard this one a bunch, a mustached Telly Savalas. I used to hear that all the time. Now, when I've shaved the mustache, I definitely have that kind of Telly Savalas thing going on. Anyway, so yeah, I'm trending as a cop that is a fake cop in Bisbee, Arizona, which is that's insulting in itself. Being a fake cop. Yeah. So Ron, now you're back in. You're in New Hope. Is that Pennsylvania? Where are you?
No, I'm like in a Harrisburg area of Pennsylvania.
Oh, you're in. So you see the? Do they still have the towers at the nuclear plant?
Yeah, that's the plant itself is shut down, but
I have one in my backyard that's shut down.
Yeah.
Shoreham, Long Island, but I thought maybe they'd tear it down after that. Were you even born when that happened? No, right?
No, I don't think. No.
Wow.
No, I watched the documentary that was on Netflix they had, and
did you see your house?
No. But what was great was what was so crazy is the CEO of like MedEd or whatever, like when all it's happening, it's like melting down, and like the governor's office was warned like this could happen if this happens to the plant, and the CEO is in the room with the governor and all these other important people, and the governor said, "Why didn't you tell us about this?" And he said, "Well, you didn't ask."
You didn't ask.
It's like the balls on that guy. Just this, like all this shit is happening. He's like, "Hey, you didn't ask."
It didn't really occur to me that you might. What I got? Hey, are you gonna melt down today? I remember that because I think I was in high school. I might have been in high school or college, but I remember the morning being on the news and just freaking out about it because I was very active at the time in the no nukes movement. funny how people can turn around. I am all for nuclear power because I think we got to get off of fossil fuels and all that stuff. But in those days, I was a radical activist against nuclear energy. I thought, especially where I live. I live on an island where there's only one escape route, and I could just see 4 million people at the time trying to get on the Long Island Expressway. Like, get me out of here.
I read an article this morning that said that the tech industry is pushing for a resurgence to bring nuclear power back because they need the extra power for AI and things like that. They're lobbying to build plants or fire plants back up.
Yeah, well, from my understanding, there are AI think tanks or whatever you call them in Canada, as far up in Canada, because the heat they generate is so massive that they need it to be a natural cooling system. So they have it all the way up in like the Yukon or something.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so maybe we're going down a bad road with this AI stuff, but for me, and I was talking to John about this the other day, yesterday was it? That this AI stuff for me, it's getting fun, and I think you can be creative with it. Have you guys played with it at all? I mean, played with it. I
No.
mean, AI, not played with
Uh,
it.
yeah, a little bit like for like pictures and things like that I use for our podcast. So I've played with it a little bit, yeah.
It's getting really, really interesting for me. It's at the point where because I was on the cusp, I was one of the first people to use computers to actually make music, and I remember a lot of people were like, you'll never, no, nobody will ever really use computers in like professional music, and like, it's just getting started. Soon, it's going to be really, really more convincing and all that stuff.
Now,
People
how
would
much
argue.
when you used computers back in the day, how much coal did you need to shovel in to the furnace to keep it going?
No, not it was not that, but it's similar. Here's what I had to do. I had a Commodore 64.
Oh,
Uh,
damn.
a Commodore 64, and instead of a computer monitor, I'd hook it up to a television, and I had to bring a Commodore 64, a big old television. When televisions were thick, they weren't flat screens; they were big old. And you bring this to a
Yeah.
gig, and the computer, and a box full of floppy disks, and sometimes and a floppy disk reader. Five and a
That
three
thing is
quarters or
really
whatever, the real floppy disk. You put it in, and you get one song per floppy disk, and you have to wait for it to load up and tell a bunch of jokes while it's loading up. Kind of stuff. It was a madness, and there were times when it would just freeze up, like in the middle of a song. It was tough.
I had
Uh,
an Amiga. I had an Amiga back in the '90s, and I would use that to make mods. And
wow.
that thing was, I mean, at the time, it was so far ahead. Like I even had a little adapter where I could sample, and you'd plug it in, and so I could hook my VCR up to it and plug the RCA's into it, and I could sample that way.
Yeah, yeah. Good old days. Now, I remember when I first started doing my first television show, I had a Gateway PC that had almost a gigabyte worth of memory in it. It had 800, 800 kilobytes. Is
Wow.
that what it was? Almost. And I was doing using it to edit video. Now the video was posted, and yet there was this Vivo encoder, and I forget what the other thing was, real encoder. Uh, but it would make these like tiny little MPEGs or special encoding, and you had to have the right decoder on your machine. And I remember I was using it to edit video, and a tech from Microsoft told me you'll never see the day when you'll be able to actually edit real video that's worth anything on a computer. It'll never happen. It just takes too much data and all that stuff. And that was, like 1989, 1990, and all. By the time like 1995, 96 came around, we were doing it to do broadcast television. So I mean, those predictions of you'll never be able to do that. It's just always it it's and that moved fast, but AI is moving so much faster. So I'm back in the hair and beauty
Who
business now. Go ahead.
Who was it that didn't you have somebody on the show that was saying that like by like 2030 or whatever, like the medical technologies are going to update like every 15 minutes or something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
Didn't you have somebody on
yeah.
saying
He
that? Like,
I thought that was a conservative estimate because I always thought every 2 minutes. It's moving very fast. All the
right.
stuff.
And I mean,
It,
and
that,
especially with AI now, I think the advancement of our technologies is going to just soar. It's going to skyrocket. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because,
So you
and
feel obsolete?
bro, I already don't know what I'm doing with technology. Are you kidding me? Like, I mean, I really should take some sort of course or something because I'm a real idiot when it comes to technologies and stuff. Like it's very um like when I make my reels or whatever, I didn't even realize this one time. So and I'm because I do my reels and stuff myself. I don't use AI for any of those. And one time I spent like 3 hours making one reel, but like like I wanted it to be. I can't do that. I can't. That's poor
I
time
think you got to look
management.
up
You know
some
what I mean?
tutorials. That's what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I need something because
yeah.
I can't be doing that. I can't be
Where
spending 3 hours on a
where the
single
hell is
fucking
Vander? I'm
reel.
trying to find our friend Mike Vanderveen, who goes by the name Vander, comedian. He has been posting some stuff that he's been doing with AI writing jokes. It's kind of scary. Some of the AI joke of the day. Me, working at a rehab is a lot like working in customer service, and the AI writes the punchline. There are a lot of people who don't want to be there, and you don't have the front lines of obesity of the obesity problem. Mm. AI
That
joke of the
makes
day.
no sense.
Me, I couldn't get sex in prison. AI writes, that's the last time I go to a women's prison. Um,
What the
so
fuck?
it's funny that now again, this might seem like lame jokes, but I guarantee you, 2 years from now, even less than 2 years, 6 months from now, you're going
You
to be
think
saying,
AI will get funnier?
yeah, so it will be able to write jokes that you'll say, wow, that's pretty fucking good. Well,
or or it'll actually follow through with a bit and kill itself.
That but I can't see people actually going to a comedy club to watch a computer spit out jokes. Uh,
I don't know, dude. People got all fucking crazy about that computer on Jeopardy. Remember when that fucking happened?
yeah, you could be right. I mean, listen, I don't know. I don't know anything about that. All babies are packed, and I have time to watch you guys. All the babies are packed. I mean, she's talking about snakes and spiders and snakes. I don't like spiders and snakes, and that ain't what it takes to love me. Ooh, you know that song? Neither one of
What?
you guys know that song.
What?
No, I was just
Spiders
gonna
and
Who
say
is
make
snakes.
sure
that?
Jim
you
Stafford.
just put enough ice in there to keep those babies cool.
Yeah. No, she's got these big old snakes. These like a shack dick snake. Like what Richard Lewis was talking about. Shaq,
Anacondas.
Shaq carrying his dick around.
Oh
Like
my god.
basically one of those things. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. So, but I am having fun with the AI because back in the hair and beauty stuff, and Vivian keeps asking me for new effects and stuff and things that we could do to make her shorts pop. And so AI is I'm having fun with it, and I feel like you know there's same thing as with the drum machines and vinyl scratching and all that kind of stuff and DJing and mixing that into real music is you have to keep some element of human creativity. The human being has to be able to kind of adapt it and think of it as a tool rather than I'm just going to let this do all the work for me. You have to have some input on it. But if you do that and embrace it, it can be fun. It can be fun, not something to be afraid of. So.
Holy crap. 19 lizards are off to new homes, she said. 19 lizards.
Wow. I'm guessing they were babies.
I'm guessing, yeah.
Yeah. Now, Richard Lewis was having a bit, God, last week when he passed away, I was binge watching his stuff. He was talking about he had pet turtles. I wonder if Chrissy wants to, if she knows anything about turtles. But he's saying how fragile turtles were. It's like you go to feed the turtle and like, just give it a little food, but be careful. Oh, he's dead. Like when you have turtles as pets, they die. Just you can talk too loud to them and they die. I mean,
What?
baby turtles. Did you ever have baby turtles as pets?
No,
Well,
I didn't. I had no pets as a child. I didn't have a pet until I was in my 40s.
wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Are you afraid of pets?
Uh, no. No. I just like growing up. It's actually kind of maddening a little bit. So growing up, we were told that my mother had allergies, which is why we couldn't have cats or dogs. Which turned out to not be true. That was just some shit they said because my dad didn't want us to have any pets, and he just signed mom up to take the hit for it. Right?
Aren't parents great?
Yeah, yeah.
So what do you?
So growing up, I just never had one, and then obviously I didn't have a pet while I was in prison. And then my wife basically got me this dog when we moved here to New Mexico, and when we got Fluffy, she was a little white fur ball that fit into my hands like this. She was just tiny, but she's a Great Pyrenees, so now she's fucking huge. She can literally put her paws up on my fucking shoulders and look me in the face.
Well, I can relate to that.
It's not even dug road yet.
I went and bought this what was called a mini pig. Now let's be clear: there is no such thing as a mini pig or potbelly pig. Those they're not mini pigs. They will grow to enormous sizes. But when I first got Rufus, he really fit in the palm of my hand, and he was that young, probably too young to be taken away from his mom. I put him in my pocket and went to CVS to buy baby bottles because I was going to feed him with a bottle, and he started squeaking in my pocket. And people were like, "What's going on? I got a pig in my pocket." But he eventually grew up to be about 650 pounds, and he wasn't done growing. What stopped him was he got pneumonia. He would have been about 1,200 pounds. So this idea of potbelly pig, mini pig. What the idea with those is you have to starve them to keep them small and abuse them to keep them small. And so I was known as the pig guy because I had a couple of pigs at that time, and I woke up to some noise out in my driveway, like middle of the night, cops in my driveway, and I opened the window. I said, "What's going on?" They said, "Are you the pig man?" Yeah, I guess I'm the pig man. He said, "Did one of your pigs get away?" I was like, "No, my pigs are fine. They're in the barn. Everything's cool." He said, "Well, we got a report of a wild pig running through the streets of Santa Mariches." I was like, "Oh, I'll come with you." So I went, and there was a pig running around backyards. And it's the middle of the night. Neighbors, people are freaking out. Like, what are the cops doing in my backyard? And they got me as the pig recruiter. And I finally caught this pig.
The local, hey, we got a guy. We got a local pig guy. We need to go grab him.
Right, but the only guy who knows about pigs. And I got this pig. She came over to me, and she had strap marks, like they were trying to keep her small by like wrapping her really tightly in chains or whatever. She had all over her body, like all these marks. I was like, wow, this pig is abused. And like, what do we do? There's no like pig shelter where we could just like. So I said, I'll take her. And now I'm in a convertible with no roof on it, by the way, because it was a convertible that it was a hard top car that I took the hard top off. And basically when so I'm out there in a convertible with a pig driving down Main Street in my lap, and the pig's trying to jump out. It's a floor on the floor.
How big was the pig?
Probably about 60 pounds.
Okay,
big, big.
Yeah.
But they were trying to keep it small. Yeah. So she was an orphan, and we named her Annie. She grew up nice, and she kind of was filling out. She got rid of those welts that they had on her. But I guess the point I was trying to make here is that people get offered potbelly pigs or mini pigs. Don't fall for that. The only way you can keep them small, it's not going to be a house pet. It's not going to be a house pet. The only way you can keep them small is to starve them or abuse them, because pigs are eating machines. They are born for one thing and one thing alone, and that's to eat constantly. From the minute they wake up to the minute they go to sleep, their job is to eat, get fat, and that's all they do. So the idea
Well,
that
I
you can
don't.
have.
My wife wants to have like a mini petting zoo someday. Like, and she does love miniature animals and stuff like that. But I don't think I want to let my wife have pigs. Mainly because I don't need another reason for her to think it's okay to murder me. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
she'll just feed me to them. You know,
yeah.
fucking.
Well, we got kicked out of the neighborhood because of the pigs. Um, the neighbors did not like that we
Oh
had
no.
potbelly pigs, so we had to move. I actually had to sell a house and move to where people would not harass us and call the police on us or call the town on us for having pigs where it wasn't zoned. Um, so people do suck. Here, pigs on the that's the wild pigs. No, I wanted to find the video. There's a video of me with a woman I used to live with, and we're feeding the three pigs. I had three pigs, not a pig. Three pigs. We were feeding them sherbet. Uh, and they just got, they're voracious. I mean, you put the spoon out there, they eat the whole fucking spoon. Pigs don't stop. Any have you had any weird pets? Any different kind of pets besides cats and dogs?
My wife had a service animal once, and I felt so much better after I ate that thing. So that was good.
We went to buy baby donkey. I can't. I get in trouble for saying donkey. I don't know. Donkey, a baby donkey, mini donkeys. But when we went to buy it, we saw the donkey eating its own shit, and that turned her off. She's like, "I can't have an animal that eats its own shit." Like,
A dog eats its own shit.
not my
Yeah,
dog. My
true.
dog never did that thing. But
Yeah.
well, anyway,
I mean, my dog doesn't, but like when we were at
I
Danica's
know
aunt and
some dogs
uncle's
do.
in
Some dogs will definitely
yeah.
get into a cat litter box and feast on that shit. And it's like, what's wrong with you,
So
man?
the other day, our little dog. So I have a Great Pyrenees, and then my wife has this like it's a miniature terrier mix with something else. I can't remember what, but it's a very small dog, and then my dog is a Great Pyrenees, a very big dog. And they're both girls. But Jasmine, the little dog, like gets on like the back part of my dog and starts like air hump. Now they're both female dogs, so explain why this is even happening. You know what I mean? Like I don't even. But dude, and then of course it makes my dog upset, and so
Yeah.
then I have to calm my dog down because
Jealous?
But I
The
don't.
dog get
I don't. I mean, I just don't get it because they're both female dogs. Like, why does she get up on her and like start humping like she could do that? I don't even get it. It makes no sense.
well, that if I would have find this dopey pig video, Annie, who was a female, was humping everything. A female pig trying to hump she would constantly try to hump my leg, but hump the other pigs. Like she was just like a horny. I think she thought she had a corkscrew dick. Pigs. I don't know if you know. Pig dick is corkscrew. It's
Yeah, yeah,
it's fucking
yeah.
very
I did
weird.
know
Um, yeah. So there's that. I had rabbits. I had pigs. Turkey for a while. A pet turkey. Oh,
that. My
only
buddy Jeff tried to get me to fight a turkey. He wanted me to fight a turkey
well.
because he found out about the deer thing that I want to take a deer down by hand. He was like, "Hey, go," and but I had a show that night. Had I not had a show that night, I probably would have went and fought a turkey because he was like,
Found
go
out
fucking
about
fight
the
that
deer
thing
thing.
if you want to fight wild animals." And I was like, "I'll fight a fucking turkey. You think I won't fight a turkey?"
No, yeah. Listen, let me tell you something. Turkeys can be intimidating. We have them in the yard, and when they fly away, it's like a fucking pterodactyl. They are so with that wingspan, they're like the size of a fucking small plane. I'm telling you,
Yeah, yeah,
it's freak. And whoever knew that
right.
turkeys could fly that high? I mean, I see them going up like 200 feet. Like, oh my god! And if you see a flock of them, 20 turkeys coming in like small planes, it's like fucking what Tora, fucking kamikazes coming in. Holy shit, they're pretty intimidating. Now I have feral cats.
Oh,
We have 2 cats in the house, and they get jealous because we are.
oh
My
man,
wife loves taking care of the cats, but now we're up to 7 on the back steps.
bro.
They're lovable cats. They want to, and they want to be part of the family. They come. We're overfeeding them, I think, but they just come up. I think at this point they're just looking. They're looking for friendship. They want, and you see them. My wife now. We're investing
So
in cat houses. In cat houses.
one of one of the craziest things I ever saw as far as animals go. I was dating this girl and she lived out in the country with her family. They had a small like acreage or whatever, and they had some horses and whatever. And when this girl pulled up in the drive by the house, like as soon as her car pulls up, you start to see cats darting from all around the property towards the house, right? And by the time you get out of the car and start walking on the sidewalk up to the house, you literally had to like scoot cats out of your way to take the next step because they were like 30, 40 fucking cats just hoarding around because they knew that as soon as she got home, she'd go inside, she'd get this bag of cat food, and she had this big circle pan that she just dumped like half a bag of cat food in. And yeah, and I mean, dude, 30, 40 fucking cats all around. But I tell you what, you didn't see mice anywhere on that farm. Like, they did not exist.
This is really upsetting to me because I have so many videos of the pigs, but they're on a drive I can't access right now. Because I have one of
Oh, that
Rufus when
sucks.
he was a baby, and I was feeding him out of a bottle, and he was just like he was so like voracious at the bottle. He was like trying to pull it out of my hand, like this big, and giving me a tug of war with this. Uh, very
Yeah.
cute animal pig.
We have a
Uh,
we have a cat and a dog, and our German Shepherd, she's 13, so she's just old, but she's in really good health. She gets around, she likes playing. Then the cat that we have was I think we got it last year, and it was a rescue cat. It was like 6 to 8 months old, and that cat's great. She's very mellow and just hangs out with you. It's nice, but uh, I don't know. I'm tired of having animals. I mean, a cat is fine because it's very low maintenance, but like when the dog goes, we're not getting one anytime soon after that because it's
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
when I was a kid, you never had to walk your dog. We could just let it out in the yard. If it's shit in the yard, either you just let it lay there till it became hard and biodegraded by itself, or you went and cleaned it up by yourself. But now you have to walk them through neighborhoods wearing a glove and a bag and all this kind of stuff. It's just like that's not that's not the way to keep an animal. You let it roam free. You have to have enough property for a dog, I think. You can't just,
Yeah.
these people who live in
Well,
apartments
and
and have dogs.
yeah, I will say, like, I even said to Danica, like, because we have a sizable backyard that Fluffy can go out into, but we have a dog park in town. And I was saying to Danica the other day how I'd like to take Fluffy to the dog park so she can really get out and run, like
Yeah.
get some real freedom, because I think
So
that's very important for like even the mental health of a dog. You know what I mean? Like it's for the physical health, but also I think just
absolutely.
for their like mental health and happiness, dogs need to get out and have that freedom.
Yeah, a dog really can be happy just walking like twice a day on a leash, never running, never really experiencing anything but,
Yeah.
you know.
Fluffy doesn't even like to walk. Like when I walk Fluffy, because I take her out to the backyard quite often and stuff. But when I
It's so
walk
weird to hear
her,
you call him Fluffy. A dog. Oh,
what?
Fluffy.
I mean, dude, it's the name of the dog. What do you
I
want me to
know, I
say?
know.
Man? The big, long, white-haired,
Because
fucking
I
Great
call young
Pyrenees.
girls Fluffy Fresh, I guess, is a conflict of
Well, she
interest
is
or
a
something.
girl. She is young. She is a young girl, I guess. It fits.
Fluffy fish. Yeah.
Yeah, that
You know,
sounds
fluffy.
even
Oh yeah,
that sounds so
look like
creepy when you
fluffy.
say it out loud.
I know it does. I know it does. Um,
And it's fluffy fresh over here.
no, there was this. I hate to talk bad because she's no longer with us. But this young girl who was so smoking hot, she was going out with Gilbert Gottfried, and she used to come by the band all the time.
Oh,
On who? What? What just got excited? Something excited.
who was she going out with?
Oh yeah. But I used to out loud call her Fluffy Fist because she would come up. She was like 17. Gilbert was in his 30s or something. I was probably in my early 20s. But she would pull up, and the minute she walked up, you could like smell the perfume and the hair and all this stuff. And like, Fluffy Fresh. that was my greeting to her every time I saw her, like Fluffy Fresh. And so that's where that comes from. But yeah, it is kind of old. The older I get, the creepier it gets, right?
Yeah.
It's hard.
You got to tell that story like GD would. Like I was in a band, and we'd have cats come by, and
Yeah.
they'd spray us, and that's what we call fluffy fresh.
Yeah, yeah. And I was in the ink spots once, and
oh my god.
yeah.
Jesus.
Oh,
What's that
yeah.
other band he won't shut up about?
What?
What's that other band he won't shut up about?
I don't know.
I know what fucking Crack the Sky.
Yeah, Crack the Sky, that one.
Crack the Sky. I don't know a single Crack the Sky song. I really don't. I should look them up just so I know what the hell he's talking about.
They're a terrible band.
They're a terrible band.
What are there any good bands anymore? I mean, Foo Fighters, yeah, but they're not really a new band. They're 20, 25 years old now as a band. Any new bands?
I mean,
Gretchen.
I mean, I think Imagine Dragons is pretty all right. I like a lot of their stuff.
That Greta Van Zeppelin.
Yeah, the Zeppelin cover band, Greta Van Fleet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, every time I hear that, it's like, this is just Zeppelin.
Yeah. No, they definitely sound like a Zeppelin ripoff, almost like a Zeppelin parody, without the really deep lyrics and all that kind of stuff. It's just like vocalizing like Robert Plant did, and playing the riffs that those bastardized blues riffs, but none of the deep what the fuck is he trying to say? Stairway to Heaven lyrics, like what the fuck, man? There's none of that. So I think Robert Plant even came out and said something about that, like they are a Zeppelin parody.
Yeah, I almost feel like with everything like being so like decentralized, there really isn't. I mean, there's plenty of good bands out there, but since it's so fractured, there's nothing that really pops into your head like, oh, this band is doing it all.
Yeah,
I don't feel that way anyway.
I can't think of
listen to
anybody.
a lot of music too.
For a while, I was Nathaniel Rateliff. I can't get his name. I was big on him, but then he seemed to kind of peak and then go away really quick. I haven't heard any new music from him for a while.
The band White Reaper is pretty good.
I'll look them up. I don't know them.
Yeah,
I guess you have to be young.
I mean, you guys know. Oh, go ahead.
No, I guess you have to be young. Now, Will, I don't know if you caught this when I said, because John Paparamo was having this MS benefit, and he was naming, like, he's got the guys from the Gin Blossoms on, the guys from Men at Work on, a guy from Bare Naked Ladies on, and I said, and I just jokingly, I said, Jelly Roll? He said, who's that? I said, you don't know,
no.
He's 39 years old, and he doesn't know who Jelly Roll is. I was like, wow.
And I was just gonna say my dude Jelly Roll, but like because he did rap for like over 10 years and then crossed over into country, and then that's how he blew. But more and more people are, and he does some of his older music at his shows, because Danica and I have seen him twice, and at both shows he was doing both rap and country.
Very weird.
Which Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's weird because I mean, there's a lot of rap fans that also like country. There really, really is. And
But not as many. Like if you go to like a monster truck rally, those people who are pure country monster truck
right,
people and NASCAR people, they're not. As soon as you start doing like authentic rap, authentic hip hop music, that
right.
all of a sudden the racism comes out. They're
I
ready to
mean, but
put on the hood.
okay, hang on a second. What is authentic rap or authentic hip hop? Because I mean, really, like if you're talking about the city, like really, it's an expression of how you came up, whatever your particular struggle was. You know what I mean? Like as long as you're being authentic to your story, I mean, I think it's still authentic rap. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be about busting caps on the block or
No,
whatever. You know what I
I'm not
mean?
even. I'm just talking about the production values and the sounds that go with it. The beats that are part of it. You can tell the difference from in the most case between white guys who grew up emulating who you call Tupac, I call Tupac, or generally hood oriented, ghetto oriented and race doesn't matter, but as long as you grew up in that area, in that environment, uh, the rap, the rap and hip hop is more real sounding than these
Right.
white guys who try to, just
Are
appropriate
I
you,
it.
think I
are you
think
talking about Kid Rock in particular?
In one case, definitely him.
Because
He's
to
one of them.
me, Kid Rock is the perfect case study for that
He
because
is definitely.
he grew up a rich white kid in the suburbs in a very nice neighborhood and
right.
uh, had all this money. Then he did rap back in the day. Then
Yeah.
because
Right.
that dried up for him, and he
He
didn't.
started doing country with Hank Williams Jr. and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, because it allowed his racism and stuff to finally come out. So
right. Did you ever see the videotapes of him dancing like a ballerina? Because that's how he started
yeah,
in
I
Did
high
know he was
school.
you
like a hip hop dancer or something too at one time.
Yeah, that's how he
did
got
you
into
know
hip hop
that
dance.
did you know that he was on Rogan and was drinking Bud Light with Rogan as
Yes,
a way to get over the fucking
Yeah, well, yeah, he was drinking that shit months ago because he
right,
got
of
yeah,
course.
because
But
there were
like I was
pictures
like,
that
oh, of course he's
surfaced of
drinking Bud
him.
Light with Rogan. Fucking this fucking guy.
Yeah, his whole life because there are pictures of him everywhere. His entire career drinking Bud Light. As soon as because they had the audacity, and I don't even know that person, that whoever that was, to have the trans person who
Yeah,
was
the
on the
transgender. I forget what her name was too, but it's so stupid.
yeah,
It's
Uh,
and
so stupid to get that mad about it.
and
yeah,
to
it
Like
was
to show
Moroni.
how angry you are by buying their product so you could shoot it.
so you can shoot it. Yeah, that's fucking the dumbest shit ever.
Dumbest
Like
protest ever.
Well, I
Absolutely.
mean,
yeah,
he's going
yeah.
he's looking for the dumbest audience because they're the
I
only
mean that's
people that are
true. He is appealing to some pretty people.
yeah, because it's definitely appealing to somebody. It's like, listen, if you don't really like good rap and you sort of, and if you
And
sort of like horrible country, please buy my album.
oh
I don't
man.
know this. Prior, I'll take Kelly's word for it because she knows country. Kenny Chesney had 13 albums before he got one award or notice for anything. That's really weird.
And I mean,
Uh,
Kenny, he's been around since the '90s.
Forever, yeah, I can,
Yeah,
remember him for a long time. So if he had 13 awards, 13 albums before that, and no notice, that's pretty surprising to me. I remember not
I'm
liking his.
now. I don't know if that. I can't believe that's true. There's no way that's true. There's
Let's
no
fact.
way.
How do we fact check that?
I'm looking. I'm
You're gonna
googling
put
it. I'm googling it.
your biggest fan in the world. You're putting your own
Listen,
fan
listen.
on
She
trial here.
Yeah, I
she
mean,
wouldn't let me just go off willy nilly.
That's right. She wouldn't. She wouldn't.
hey,
So hold her
No.
feet to the fire. Go ahead.
hey,
You
I
do
was
that.
in Florida when Toby Keith died. So like any bar you went in, like Toby Keith was playing, and I
Oh
was
my
just
God.
thinking to myself, it's like it's not going to bring him back from the dead, guys. It's not going to help.
It's so weird. Now he knew he was dying when he did that with "Don't Let the Old Man In," which is kind of. And I saw a video of him doing that with his wife in the front row, and she's crying and all that stuff. I think she was the only one that realized that he was probably dying at the time when he did that. That was kind of touching, but for the most part, Toby Keith is just a goofball his whole life.
What?
He was.
Bro, he was married to Renee Zellweger, but they got an annulment.
Oh, no, yeah, let me tell you about that. That's what I wanted to bring up. Not for the record, he's talking about Kenny Chesney. Now she got the annulment claiming that he was a fraud. And no explanation of what she meant by that. Like she got married under false pretenses. Kenny was a fraud, and I like, what does that mean? Do you mean like he was gay and you were just a beard, or I don't? And it was never clarified. I'm curious about that, and people have asked her
You
about that,
know,
and she doesn't quantify
that's
it.
a great theory because that could be why that part in Me, Myself, and Irene was put in there, because she could be, that wasn't for me, because that was a Kenny Chesney like shout out. You know what I mean? When she the big, and what was this thing for? You know, the big old dildo he was shaking around, and
Right.
Renee Zellweger was like, that wasn't for me.
Yeah. Well, Kelly, if you have any
time with Kenny Chesney.
Kelly, if you have any inside dirt on this, let us know if you know any more about that story.
I know that. So it says here that in 2004, he won a CMA award for Album of the Year and was named Entertainer of the Year for When the Sun Goes Down. That was in 2004.
And you know what? That When the Sun Goes Down, that was an emulation of Uncle Kracker's "Follow Me." He basically he was, and Uncle Kracker is on that record, and he named him as that song as just like an inspiration for When the Sun Goes Down. But even before that, I want to know how "Forever Feels" or something. I think was the first hit I knew about Kenny Chesney. That's going back away. I think that's going back to the 90s. I don't know.
His first #1 hit was "She's Got It All" in 1997.
Yeah.
From the album "I Will Stand."
So yeah, and how old could he have been in 1997? Right. That's.
He was born in 68, so he was 19. No, 29. 29.
Yeah, so maybe 13 albums is a lot. I don't
And
know, Kelly. We need to see some backup of this claim you made here.
And you can also blame Kid Rock for introducing Uncle Kracker to the world. That's his mistake as well.
Yeah.
It's funny on Wikipedia it says Kenny Chesney. It says spouse Renee Zellweger in 2005 to 2005.
Right? Yeah, it was for a minute.
And
yeah, I'd like to. You know what? I'd like to know more about this story. I wish we could find out more.
Yeah, I think he's got to be gay. Listen, if he. Nobody's ever said, like, he's not got even a Tim Scott fake girlfriend out there. Nobody's ever seen him with another woman. He got married to Renee Zellweger for a week, and that's the only other woman he's ever had in his life. Come on.
And listen, I'm so jealous of that because, listen, Jerry Maguire was like my movie as a teen. Like, I love that movie so much. Renee Zellweger was like the girl to me. Like, for real. Like, you're a fucking fool, man. What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, she was the it thing, and now she looks,
totally.
She's had like so much plastic surgery and stuff.
Oh, has she? Oh,
yeah,
no.
You should look at her now. She looks so weird because she's one of those people that
she was in that list of people who had plastic surgeries that went wrong.
Oh no.
What did she just say about the plastic surgery?
My wife said that she was in a movie or in a documentary about people who had plastic surgery that went wrong.
Well, yeah,
I don't know. It doesn't look that terrible. She looks.
You really got to get a good one. This is the whole thing with plastic surgery. You can get a bad one and just make yourself continually more grotesque and ugly, or you can get a good one that will, make you look younger. But there are some really terrible plastic surgeons out there. And I guess nobody wants to admit that they got uglier, so they're not going to sue the plastic surgeon. Or I may probably have to sign a thing that even if if at some point you feel like I made you look worse, you can't sue me or something like that, like a
Right.
disclaimer. But it's rough. Yeah.
I
Ugly.
mean, I have to say, I don't think she looks terrible. I mean, she looks pretty all right still. I don't know how well you. Oh wait, this way. There we go.
Let me see if I click on Renee Zellweger. What do I get? Yeah, you could see that she's had work though.
Yeah. But I mean, it's no Mickey Rourke job. I'll tell you that. Mickey Rourke, that's like,
no, she's still allowed near children.
And I love that guy as an actor. I love that dude. And like we just watched The Wrestler again the other day. I love Mickey Rourke, but that fucking dude needs to stop. Holy fuck.
Yeah, I never saw The Wrestler.
Eyes are like one's up here, one's down here.
Now, what about women who just look fucking amazing and haven't had any plastic surgery, or none that really actually show it doesn't look plastic at all? They still look. I can think of two that astonish me because they're almost one is older than me and one is almost as old as me. I'm thinking of Christy Brinkley and Elizabeth Hurley. Fucking amazing pieces of nature there where they don't age. And now, of course, diet and exercise and all that stuff, but there's got to be something to genetics in that way.
I'm sure.
Just have those good genes where it's good genes, diet, and they take care of themselves.
Christy Brinkley's 69. She's almost 70 years old, and she's still highly hot. I can't imagine if you went back to me as a 20-year-old and said, you're going to look at a 70-year-old woman and think she's.
Well, I think Jennifer Aniston is another good example of that too. She's aging incredibly well, still very, very attractive.
She followed the real Jennifer Aniston follows me on Instagram.
Well, hey, it's 2024. We got to make this fair. What about the men? Who's held up on the men's side?
Oh, Brad Pitt for sure. That fucking jerk. God, man.
What?
He never stopped being sexy. That fuck face. Why?
He still looks good. He still looks good.
Like, you fucking dick. You got to just your whole life. You got to look good. You fucking asshole. All right. Okay. No, he's great though. I love Brad Pitt.
He's starting to look pretty.
Jennifer Grey. Yeah.
Did you see how bad that one was?
He's starting to look pretty old though, Brad Pitt. No.
Yeah. No, I don't think. Not in a bad way. And like Leo a little bit. Leo's starting to lose it a little. You know what I mean? But it's just morphing. You know what I mean? Like and then Matt Damon. I think Matt Damon is aging pretty good. You know what I mean? Like he's but I think among those, like among the ones that were like super hot dudes in the 90s when I was growing up and stuff, like Tom Cruise and all that stuff, I would say Brad Pitt probably is held up the most. And Hugh Jackman holds up pretty fucking good. Like his aging just kind of gives him a ruggedness that continues to be sexy, I would say.
I'd like to look at a comparison of Matt Damon in real life compared to the aged Matt Damon at the end of Saving Private Ryan. Were they accurate in how he would look as an old man? Probably not, right?
Right. And wasn't he the one in the Benjamin Buttons movie too? Wasn't that Matt Damon?
No, that was Brad Pitt.
That was Brad Pitt.
Oh, it was Brad. Okay, yeah, okay.
That was a very weird movie. I like the concept.
I never actually seen it. I don't think I watched it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. No.
Robert De Niro just had another kid, and that guy's 80 years old.
I thought he was older than 80. Let's see.
Bro, you're shooting out fucking dust. Why are you fucking doing that? That's not okay.
He's got a brand new baby at 80 years old.
That's why. That's 80. Such a messed up thing to do, because it's like, bro, you're not going to make it that much longer. Like, you're definitely going to die while this kid's in school, and that's going to be some shit that they got to fucking deal with. Like,
Andre Segovia did it at 93. He got a woman pregnant and his wife pregnant at 93, and he had
the fuck out of here, dude. No, I'll fucking rip my nut off now, dude. No.
Segovia was the last of the old school misogynist, like fucking complete pigs. I mean, he was 93 years old. When I saw him, he was 90, and he had these two like Playboy Playboy centerfolds carry him to the stage, and like I was like, look at this old man. He's got it going on. These two beautiful broads, and they put him on a bench, and he's like basically fragile, like falling over. They put the guitar in his hands, put his hands on the neck, and all of a sudden he would just start playing and then he playing like nobody's business. And then when he was done, they come and take the guitar out of his hand, pick him up, and carry him off stage again. But so the only thing he was good for was fucking and making women pregnant and playing guitar.
I mean, that's probably all he wanted to do, though. To
Yeah.
be fair.
How did that kid turn out though?
They featured this kid on 2020, the show on that was on ABC at the time. I wonder how that's a good thing. Segovia's son,
Because you hear or read stories like, yeah, even though a guy can still get a woman pregnant at that age, his sperm isn't the greatest at 80 years old.
Right.
It's
right.
just like,
but like Theo Vaughn, I think Theo Vaughn, his dad was in his 80s or something when he was born or whatever.
Yeah.
We got to say goodbye to Govs, by the way.
I know. I'm on it. Carlos Andre Segovia. He looks pretty good. I'm just trying to get